live with Tao. Samadhi Day celebration, Raghuber Dayal, Chacha ji. 77 years ago, on 7th of June 1947, Raghuber Dayal, popularly known as Chacha ji, entered into Samadhi. It is a moment of celebration. It is a moment of introspection. It is a moment of deep understanding. Life is a flow. Nothing is static in life. Life is a movement, a flow. Nothing is static. Whatsoever you see, there is a movement, there is a flow in it. One moment flows into the other. River flows into the ocean. Man flows into the woman. The bulb, the electric current, the positive energy flows into the negative. There is a constant flow. A flower has blossomed. Its fragrance is flowing into the wind. The beauty is flowing in. If there is no flow, if the flowers do not share its fragrance with the wind, or the fragrance of the flower does not flow with the wind or flow in the wind, you will not experience it. Whatsoever we experience in life is because of this constant flow that is taking place. One moment flows into the other. The process is known as time. Energy flows, one speck of energy flows into the other, waving or a straight line. The sound waves flowing into the other. And if the flow is not rhythmic, if the flow is not conscious, there is chaos, there is noise. When one note of sound flows into the other unconsciously, there is no rhythm, there is no harmony, it is known as noise. And one note, musical note, flows into the other, pulsating rhythmically into the other. There is harmony, there is symphony, and that is what music is. Do you think when flower flows, the fragrance of the flower flows into the wind, is it conscious movement? The movement can be conscious as well as unconscious. When the movement is conscious, it is the moment of awareness, you are aware. And life means awareness. You can flow into the other. The words that are overflowing They can flow out of me consciously or unconsciously. When they flow consciously, waving, it reaches you, and when these sound waves enters you, they create a parallel rhythm within you that is pleasant to you. It brings transformation in you. And when the words that are flowing, it is flowing out of chaos in a chaotic manner, then it creates chaos or disturbance in you. When during the orgasmic movement is a rhythmic flow of energy into different bits, from one bit to another within you. It can be because of external force or within or your own force. So when it happens out of your own efforts, it is meditation. In meditation, you do not depend on any circumstance or situation. Each moment of bliss out of you flows into another moment within you. This movement of one moment of bliss into another is bliss. One breath, movement of one breath into the other within creates a harmony, a rhythm. And when it is not flowing in that way, there is a chaos, so life becomes a chaos. In order for your life to be a rhythm, one moment has to flow into the other rhythmically. And this rhythmic movement of one moment into the other is meditation. When you are cooking, there are different ingredients. When one ingredient flows into the other rhythmically, a taste comes in. When this movement is not in a rhythm, when it is chaotic, it creates imbalance, and neither it is nutritious nor it is tasty. When one moment flows into the other, one taste flows into the other. Like in food, we have different tastes, the sweet, the sour, the bitter. When one taste flows into the other, rhythmically, there is a taste indescribable. When one moment of bliss, the bliss that you have experienced in this moment, flows into the next moment, rhythmically, there is bliss. When one breath flows into the other rhythmically, it is happening all within you. This is meditation. When one is and what happens in the moments of Samadhi? What is the difference between Samadhi and death? Both are death. One is chaotic movement, The other is rhythmic movement, but both are flow. Both are, and this movement is not static. One breath moving into the other can be unconscious, it can be conscious. When it is conscious, temporarily you enter into the existential moment. It is meditation. And when you enter into it is something what we can call a physical change or the chemical change. Like when lactose with the lactobacillus bacteria is converted into lactic acid, it is a chemical change. Once lactose changes into lactic acid, it cannot be the reverse process. But when water becomes ice, this is the physical change. It can transform back into the water, ice can melt, and at the same time the ice can evaporate. So this physical change, as we know in science, is act of meditation. Consciously there is a change. One breath is flowing into the other. One moment of joy is flowing into the other. The sum total, the aggregate of this is a state of bliss. It happens through when the energy moves. A positive energy flows into the other. There is in the bulb from positive energy within you, from your masculine nature to the feminine nature. It is bliss, it is orgasmic. Because it is flowing within you, it is meditation, and when it is flowing from one person to another, it is orgasm, or it is happening through sex. But the nature, the quality of the two is the same. The purpose is, and you are living life. Every moment one breath flows into the other. That is how you are aware of time. During meditation, this flow becomes so rhythmic that the gap is reduced. Just flowing into the other, a bliss comes in. One moment of the time flows into the other, and you are not aware of this. It is a movement of timelessness. When one thought entering, now when there is a chaos, each thought that comes out of you flows into the other. It is chaotic, you are aware of it. It creates a disturbance. But the same thought, I am speaking, a word that is flowing out of me flows into the other and forms the energy. Energy flows into the next speck of energy that is created by the next word, and rhythmically it is flowing into you. It gives a joy, it brings transformation in you. In the moments of death, when breath is moving into the next breath, and then all the breath, it is drop by drop, the river merges into the ocean. Even when you take a water in a cup and pour into the other cup, it is not that all the water specks, drops merge into one another same time. It is drop by drop the merger happens. Drop by drop, through the act of sex, you flow into the other. Drop by drop, one breath flows into the other. One moment flows into the other. And in that movement, you experience the moment of timelessness, egolessness. So when this is happening unconsciously, death happens. When each speck of your breath, each breath movement flows into the cosmic breath consciously, it is the beginning of the state of Samadhi. In case of Raghuber Dayal, it was a conscious merger. No, the time has come. When, as an expert chef, you know the time has come, all the different flavors, the sweet, the sour, the bitter, the savory, has flowed into one another, and this change has become a chemical change. Now, when all the different tastes blend into one another, what you can call this? You call in the language of the food taste. But this is a moment of meditativeness. This is Samadhi. That's why my slogan is cooking lovingly, cooking meditatively. When one moment of bliss through the male-female relation flows into the other, it is happening in a rhythm. It transforms. So, consciously, when you are entering each movement of the breath, instead of flowing into the next movement of the breath within, each movement of the breath is merging with the cosmic breath. And this process continues until all the breath movements from within merges into the existential breath. The process of Samadhi is complete. Buddha entered into Mahasamadhi in 3 ways. Firstly, the physical body dissolved because you have 3 bodies: physical, emotional, and energy. Breath is happening at the physical level, emotional level, and at the level of energy. What happens? The orgasm also happens at 3 levels: physical level, emotional level, and existential, the energy level. But in most of the cases, it is only at the physical level. There is no movement of the energy at the emotional level. The second door is not open. When the process of the merging of the taste different flavors begins, it is happening at the physical plane, then we do not know whether the movement in the food is at the emotional level or not, but it happens at emotional level also, because you are flowing into it. At emotional level, at physical level, when the flavors are merging into one another, it is the physical aspect. Then when emotional level, your emotions are flowing into it. There is a difference. When the orgasm begins at the physical level, it is the physical merger. When you are flowing into it at the second layer of emotions, the intensity gets deeper. When you are cooking food lovingly, joyfully, fully into it, you are watching a flower. You can watch it. You can be one with the flower. You can be one with the flower. You feel that you and the flower are pulsing together. Its beauty and you have become one. When its fragrance and you have become one, the fragrance of the flower is flowing into you, and you are flowing into the flower. You are one with the flower. When we are eating food, are we feeling the food? In the same way, when during the act of sex, you are simply at the physical level, there is no feeling. You are not flowing into the other. One breath movement is not flowing into the other. So that's why Buddha entered into death at physical level. And then the second door opened. He entered emotionally at the second layer. So first you did in the food, you can understand it very easily. You entered into each flavor, the ingredient, that you have to do. Certain ingredients are used to create the sour, sweet, bitter and savory taste, and certain are added to enhance the flavor of one another. Then you now are putting along with that your input, your emotions, then the taste becomes different. And with that, automatically your energy, you are pulsating with food. You and food are flowing into one another. The energy is flowing into one another. The same thing can happen into the moment of death. In Samadhi, it is physically you are dissolving, emotionally you are dissolving, and at the level of energy also you are dissolving. But when it comes to the physical, we are afraid. We are afraid that what will happen next moment? I will not be. What happens when emotions, so there comes a fear. So in case of the Chaji, how it entered, he felt a pain in the chest area. So it was in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. It was a usual practice of him that in the afternoon he will have something snack. Potato as such is the harmful for those who are diabetic because it is empty calories of sugar. But when potato is roasted on the open fire, then its quality changes and its the sugar content, the quality changes. So he used to have every afternoon one small roasted potato. Along with that, some they roasted Bengal gram or chickpeas. So he had that. He was sitting on his bed along with his consult. So when he was complained, he sent everybody out to someone to fetch the doctor, to someone for one reason or the other. Because in that moment you want to be alone. You don't want any emotion. This one starts crying or that one starts crying that you are going. It happens when you are going even for a short period of time. The people start getting emotional that you are leaving us. What will happen? How we will connect with one another? How can I connect with you? Because during that time there was no internet and the social media facilities. Now it is. But where you are going after the death, there is no social media or the contact. Their contact is of a totally different nature. So he remained there. So the slowly and slowly, as one breath moved and it reached the threshold to merge into the other, instead of merging within, it merges with the cosmic breath. One by one, each breath that is flows, it entered into the cosmic breath. When this movement is completed, then one attains to the state of constant dissolution into the existence. Whatever water is there in the river is flowing into the ocean, drop by drop. You have a bottle where it has some water in it, it has a nozzle, or you take this thing, for instance, a liquid soap. It is in a bottle, it has a nozzle, so it is not all of the liquid soap is going into the other bottle, but it is going in a certain stream, you see a stream, but it is drop by drop, because you cannot see that minute happening. And that, so drop by drop, pulse by pulse, each breath moved out and dissolved into the existence. The process completed. But the breath, the life force, breath is life force, Alan White, or pranavayu. It flows through the entire body. It has to flow, move from each part of your body and then dissolve into the cosmic existence. Buddha did it at the physical plane, his own way. Then he came back and entered into, now when Lalaji was explaining his Samadhi, he said the life force is receding from the big two. All the life force has moved out from the big two. So that big two is no more alive. Now it is reaching the ankle. From the ankle it is moving. From the calf it is moving. Consciously. So he explained that way. Buddha entered into Mahaparinirvana that way. Chachaji did not need to explain that, but the process was the same. The process of samadhi of each person remains the same. The solution of the individual breath movement into the cosmic breath movement, and at all the planes. What happens in normal death? The body dies, but the mind continues to live on. When you do not finish your day's work, your mind flows into another day. When during the male-female relation, the energy does not flow totally, so there comes the need for another movement. Another day you have to live on, another moment you have to enter into it. When everything is completely, the energy has dissolved into the cosmic energy. This is what happens in meditation every day, and the duration of the bliss or the state remains for a longer period of time than the experience of timelessness, the experience of thoughtlessness, the experience of egolessness. During the moment of orgasm, it is momentary. In the moments of meditation, it lasts for a longer period of time. In samadhi, it is permanent. Totally. Now, you do not exist as you are. After the experience of bliss, because this is your experience in orgasm, you do not remain the same. For a moment you were thoughtless, for a moment you experienced, there was no time, there was no ego, but you return back to the same thing. In meditation, you stay in that state for a longer period of time, and you can stay even a longer period of time than you desire to be. In the moments of death, certain things happen, but the thoughts, emotions remain and the mind remains. So you have to enter into another birth. In normal orgasm, you have to enter into another sex act to experience momentarily the disappearance of time, disappearance of thought, disappearance of ego. In death, ego does not disappear. The thoughts does not disappear, but the life force or energy has come to an end, so it has to evaporate. In samadhi, you are entering permanently into the state of samadhi, into the state of thoughtlessness, timelessness, and egolessness, because this is a complete dissolution. When there is no thought for a moment, there is no time awareness for a moment, there is no ego for a moment, it is orgasm. And when there is no thought, there is no time awareness, there is no ego, for a longer period of time, for as long as you wish to have, this is a state of meditation. You can remain, live your life meditatively. And when you are living meditatively, you can enter into any moment meditatively. I said, cooking lovingly and cooking meditatively. You can say, sexing meditatively, sexing lovingly. Do we do that? We enter into cooking out of need. We enter into sex because of the need. Not meditatively, you are entering into cooking. Not meditatively, you are entering into sex. So it happens, you have to go again and again. The chaos remains. Food does not have the taste. The death does not give you total fulfillment. When it happens that way, consciously the drop is merging into the other drop, into the ocean. One breath is moving into the other. It is death. So sex and death are same, I said, but you did not understand. When I said meditation and death are same, you did not understand. Death means disappearance of time, disappearance of thoughts, disappearance of ego sense. It can be momentary, it can be for a longer period of time, as long as you want. And does it not happen, you become totally unaware of the body disappears in the moment of sex, in the moment of orgasm. You are not even aware of your body. You are not even aware of time. You are not even aware of thoughts. In meditation, you are not aware of the body. Although you are in the body, but you are not aware, but the body is not you. You know there is a gap between you and your body. A momentary glimpse comes through the experience of sex. You are not the body. You are not the emotions. You are not the time. You are simply energy flowing into one another. And when this happens totally, each moment, one enters into Samadhi. A Buddha enters into Mahaparinirvana. A Raghuber Dayal enters into Samadhi consciously. The body, he has left his body long ago. Emotions has been left long ago. He entered into the body, he remained in the body, but the body was not in him. He remained in the body because his work cannot be done without the body. He has to be emotionally connected. If I do not flow emotionally, in my words there is no emotional movement. At this moment, these words will not create ripples in you. If these words are not flowing into the other in a harmonious manner, and this harmony comes from within, there will not be rhythm, there will not be music, instead there will be chaos, there will be disturbance. So it is necessary consciously, I have to enter into consciously, for the sake of the people, for the sake of the seeker, for bringing the process of transformation, I have to enter into consciously. I don't need to spend time to speak to you, but it is necessary. Then when the work is over, just as you are entering into the act of sex for certain reason, when the act is over, you are out of it. But the bliss continues, the orgasmic experience continues. When you entered into meditative state for a certain reason, when the purpose is served, I enter into this talk, this morning live with Tao for a certain period, for a certain reason, to give you the taste of Samadhi, how one can enter into Samadhi. How can one enter into the different aspects of life consciously? When this work is over, I am out. The session will finish. So too, life is given to you, a certain span of life has been given to you to enter, to bring about transformation into the other. You enter into those moments consciously, and when the purpose is served, you exit from there. So an awakened one enters into life consciously and stays in life consciously and exits life consciously. This is meditation. Each act of your life that you perform can be a conscious movement. Then you are living your life meditatively. You are living your life as a samadhi. Enough for now.